Yo, welcome to another episode of Black Man's Thoughts, man. It's your boy Yahoo, man. We out here. Sorry, man. I think the my other link got messed up, got scheduled wrong or whatever. But yeah, man, kids is in there eating, man. So I definitely want to hurry up on this one. Um, Again, my Ravens lost yesterday. Lost Sunday. So pretty bummed out. Pretty bummed out about the Bills beating us. I don't understand what's going on with this defense, man. All these first round picks, man. Chuck Spags. You know, I'm not understanding how we keep going through the same situation, man. The same giving up plays, the same everything, man. But anyway, you know, uh, definitely want to get into some boxing today. That's what this is about. You know what I mean? So without further ado, you know, we're gonna talk about this right of season Canelo versus Crawford card. Um, you know, I think this is one for the books. I think seldom, uh, very seldom, you know, you have a fight that matches the caliber of what's it been held to. Very, very, very seldom, you know, and I feel like this has the this has the opportunity to do so. You know, you have two fighters, man, who have very unique styles. Canelo 168, man, he's dominated there for about 11 years. Um, and that's a long time to just stay at a weight, man. But he has tested himself against Bivol. He's moved up. I think he fought Caleb Smith. I want to say. Let me see. Wait. Yep, he fought. No, that's super middle. He did. He fought Caleb Smith at a super middleweight. He won by unanimous decision. I know he fought. I think he fought somebody though to get the to at a higher weight division and won, I believe. I can't remember who that was, man. But Canelo's a very special fighter, man. I think he turned pro around 15. I mean, that's a very, very, so he has a very unique resume, man. I mean, by the time he was 23, I mean, just imagine, he's professional at 15. By 23, bro, he's a vet, man. And so he's seen all these styles. He's seen, and his resume is stacked, and he has everything that you look for in a fighter's resume. I think what hinders Canelo is that he's been fighting there for so long. Does he have the hunger? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, does he have the hunger or whatever? But you know what, man? The betting odds is actually favoring Canelo. And we're gonna touch on that a little bit later on and placing some bets and stuff like that. But right now, the Canelo is the favorite. So Crawford is definitely going against the grain in virtually every single category. Um, if see, let's check something real quick. Okay, so you have Canelo Alvarez who's 35, Terrence Crawford who's 37. Height, height. Terrence Crawford has an advantage. Canelo's listed at 5'7.5". And Terrence Crawford at 5'8". The reach, Crawford has a 74-inch reach. Canelo has a 70.5-inch reach. Record 63 for Canelo, 63, 2-2, 39 KOs. Man, like I said, he has a crazy resume. And Terrence Crawford, 41 and no, never tasted defeat, 31 KOs. And that's the thing about Crawford. Nobody has been able to pick him apart. Nobody's able to uh, figure him out. Figure out Terrence Crawford is going to be the test for Canelo. How do you pick that lock? Canelo has tasted defeat. But the thing with the thing with Canelo is, you know, hold on. The thing with Canelo is, and if we can transfer to going to the next conversation, is what's on the line. The thing about Canelo is fighting a guy who has a nowhere near the resume, but he has nowhere near the resume. But the thing about Crawford is he's universally recognized as pound for pound number one. In many aspects, Terrence Crawford is definitely on the pound for pound. I mean, who would you have above him? Usually heavyweights are not on there, so you wouldn't count Usyk, but it would be definitely Terrence Crawford. It has to be recognized as number one, especially after that defeat with Spence. I think that really sealed that Crawford for real. Looking at his skill set, man, you understand boxers know, fighters know, and he's recognized as the upper echelon, top of the top. You know what I mean? And that's what's working in his favor. But he doesn't have the record that Canelo has. Terrence Crawford 41, 31 K, 41 and 0, 31 KOs. So they both can put you out. Terrence Crawford specializes in when he has you hurt, he knows how to capitalize. He's the best in the business in finishing his fights. Got to be on daddy duties. You know what I mean? Make sure they're eating. But KO percentage, Terrence Crawford has a higher percent KO, but and that's the thing about this too, on what's on the line, is Canelo is fighting someone who nobody's able to figure out. He has a higher percentage knockout. He's number one pound per round. But the thing about it is, he's 3 weight classes below you. Now, I was listening to Showbiz, and he asked a good question, and then the question is, when you look at Canelo versus Jermell Charlo, you don't even usually pick that fight as one of the remembrance for Canelo. Why? Because of the weight class, because of the size difference, because virtually it, you know, Jermell wasn't supposed to win, so you won't look at that as a significant notch on Canelo's belt. He has the name, but if you ask anybody around, that's not something that Canelo can hang his hat on. What's at stake here for Canelo is he's literally fighting for everything, because if he loses, then everything goes in Crawford's favor, because now the idea is, okay, so Canelo can't fight black slick fighters. I hate when they say black slick, but they can't fight black fighters who can move. That's been his kryptonite. That's been the things that given him the most trouble. Um, what else is against him? He can't fight those athletic black fighters, because when you look at Mayweather was the only one who was able to really dominate Canelo. Canelo has had wars, man. He has a lot of wars, but you never really seen Canelo dripping with blood. You never seen Canelo beat up. Nobody beats up Canelo Alvarez except for maybe Floyd Weather, who took him to school. And he outclassed him by a large margin, but he wasn't completely just physically beaten. And I think that when he fights a fighter, and if he loses to Crawford, then everything is said is true. He cherry picked his way to the top. His resume was fluffed up. He hasn't knocked anybody out in the last 4 years, 6 years. Uh, he doesn't have it no more. He's lost a step. Everything becomes true. But if he wins, he doesn't really get any recognition, because he should have beat somebody coming up 3 weight classes who've never even fought at 160. He should dominate him. He's been at this division for 11 years. That's what he's supposed to do. He's technically the bigger man, the more experienced man. So there's nothing really Canelo can gain for this. But we're going to talk about something at the very end, though. And for Crawford, it's, I moved up 3 weight classes. I'm the first three weight class undisputed champion. He has everything to gain to this. And if he loses, then they say he dared to be great. Of course, it's how he loses. Is the conversation is was this a money grab? But I think that I don't know. I don't know. Of course, Crawford. Just to be honest with you, I do think this is a money grab in a sense because if you look at his earlier videos, he said there's weight classes for a reason, and that he would never fight Canelo. So the whole thing about it is always only thing about it is prize fighting. They're all fighting for money. They're all trying to get the cash. And you see anybody's willing to fight anybody. Look at Jake Paul and Tank. Look at Tyson and Jake Paul. Look at Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. Look at these exhibition fights that's been taking place, and it's all they'll do anything for some money. Okay, let's keep going on. That's really the tale of the tape. Crawford is the older man, 37. Canelo is 35, but you got to think in terms of, you know, what's it called? In terms of who's taking the most punishment, it's definitely Canelo. You know, and one could say, well, I thought you said he'd never been beat up, but here's the thing: it's he's he hasn't been beat up, but he's taken great shots from from other people who are heavier punchers, and he's been in wars with some really really talented punchers. And the thing about it is, and he's had so many fights. For he's been fighting for what's it called, um undisputed. I mean, he's been fighting for it since he's been what pro since he's been 15. So he has everything to lose, and you know that's just what it is, man. He has a lot to lose, and I do think he's going to come in focused. I do think he's going to come in and like this is my this is my division. This is my weight class, and that's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to come in very focused, and I think hold on. I just think that he's going to come in very focused, and that's just what I think, man. Um, let's move on, man. Okay, I was listening to Ward, and I was listening to Ward and Antonio Tarver and Roy Jones, and I was listening to them, and they talked about something that Crawford has in him, and he has that he has that dog, he has that dog in him, he has that heart in him, that Rocky Balboa had, right? That come on, champ. He doesn't remember when Rocky when she told in Rocky 5, she told Rocky that Tommy, he don't have the heart that you have. He'll never have it. He'll never have what you have inside, you know, and that's what a lot of people are banking on when it comes to Crawford. They're banking on him to have have something inside of him that's going to be different than Jermell Charlo. That's going to be different from all the people that he's faced before. When we fought, when Canelo fought Jermell Charlo, one thing that was said was, you know, when he walked out, he said he didn't even try. He laid down. He laid down. Why? Because Terrence Crawford is a fighter. Terrence Crawford is a warrior. Um, Terrence Crawford is, um, one of one. So when you look at Canelo and you ask, okay, look at Canelo's last 4 fights. Was any of them, besides Bibble? Take Bibble out of it. His last fights, besides Bibble, you can clearly see he Canelo doesn't. He isn't fighting as Saul Alvarez. He's fighting as Canelo. Saul, the younger version, was a beast. He had slick movement. He was a lot more agile. Canelo, and this was something that Tarver said, and I do agree. Tarver said this. He said he's fought devastating punchers, but he hasn't faced a sharpshooter who has power, who knows how to knock you out, and is looking to hurt you. If you look at the other fighters that Canelo has faced, he fought a lot of people that respected him a lot. He fought a lot of people that when they went into the ring, the fight was already over because they were just so happy to be in the ring. Canelo, when he fought Caleb Plant, Canelo was ready because there was a that altercation at the beginning where Canelo, um, where Plant allegedly said something about his mom, which I think later on he said he wouldn't do that, but whatever was said set Canelo off. And what happened was, uh, I think I think Canelo pushed him, and, and Plant went in to swing. Canelo stepped back, came, boom, cut him. That's when I knew the fight was over. That's when I knew the fight was over, and that's when I knew you were dealing with Saul Alvarez. And so, but since then you haven't seen the same. It's more of a it's more of a 1-2 big left hook, and it's just power shots. So I do agree with what Tarver said is that the difference with Crawford is when Crawford steps in, he knows and he knows where and he's looking for the knockout. Whereas the other people, they were just there to tag him and move. And that's going to go into strategy as well. Um, I think I do also agree that Canelo is not going to come in as Canelo. I really don't believe that. I believe that Canelo has really prepared for this. I think that this is a different version of Canelo. I think that you know, I think that Canelo is out to prove something. I think that Canelo is, going to show some glimpses of Saul for longer periods of time. And what I mean by that is if you watch the Bivol fight and you watch the Skull fight, look at them different. Look at them; they're a little bit different. When Canelo fought Skull, he didn't need to be Saul. He knew that even though I'm fighting a mover, that I don't need to bring out the whole arsenal. I don't need to bring out the tool chest. Punch, punch, power shot. Punch, punch, power shot. Jab, jab, hook. Jab, jab, fake to the body, go upstairs. Jab, jab, right. I mean, Canelo has a cadence of punches. If you look at him when he fights, it's just nothing but he's loading up. Chop, chop, boom. He's looking for that. And what's funny is he's not a one punch knockout artist. He's actually both him and Crawford are accumulation punchers. What I mean, but it's very seldom that you see somebody just a one quick boom. If you look at the resumes, they don't have a lot of one punch knockouts. Maybe I guarantee of them, both of them have less than five, less than four probably of one punch knockouts. So their accumulation, they're both looking to really break you down, catch you, and but what Tarver was mentioning is that um Tarver's mention is that the difference in this fight is that they're both apex predators. They're both looking to hurt you because Canelo's last fighters, they weren't looking to really hurt or they were going in there to survive. They were going in there to survive. And Andre Ward was mentioning also that that Crawford that Crawford's has put on the weight the right way. I think they all agree. Tarver, Andre Ward, and Roy Jones has mentioned that he put on the weight the right way, and he took the year to let the weight, you know, be on his body. the training, the fighting, the walking around with it, and then he's going to cut down. You know what I mean? So he's used to the weight. He's training. You can see him in multiple videos training with the weight vest. You can see him, and you can just see him just doing a lot. Here's my thing. Here's my take on that. I wonder why nobody. These are fighters. Why? Because they say, Roy Jones said something like, when that 10 touched that chin, when that 10 touched that chin, when the 10-ounce glove touched the chin, that's when he's going to know. And my thing is like, there's no way Bomac had uh, Steven Nelson in camp. And at the very, very beginning, when they knew it, get in there with some 10-ounce gloves on. Because there's no way that this is the only time he's going to feel 10-ounce gloves from a 168 pounder, especially when Martinez is in camp as well. So I my question is, how often has he ever felt 10-ounce gloves on someone bigger? Because he always says, I spar bigger guys all the time. I spar bigger all the time. I always fight. All my life I've been fighting bigger, but fighting bigger with 10-ounce gloves on, if you're going to know that that's going to be a difference, then you're going to have to get used to that. Now, obviously, during camp, he's won because he doesn't want to risk the energy. But at some point, I'm hoping that they had some type of training where, okay, this is going to be around the pressure you're going to be feeling. This is going to pains that you're going to be feeling. And even then, from there to all the way to the fight, that's a long time. But at some point in time, I'm hoping he did do that. Um, uh, for Canelo, he had an all-star. They call it a rich camp. He had an all-star cast going here in his training camp. I think you're going to see Saul Canelo Alvarez because he has so much to lose, and I think you're going to get. He got up for this fight. I think that. I think that he's prepared, and I don't. And the question is, Sean Porter was talking about it on when did Boots come into camp? Was it at the beginning or was it at the later? Because even though we see it recently, it could have been earlier, because Boots has a fight coming up too. So when was it? And he was like, I was hoping that it was at the beginning and he stayed longer, but even if it was at the end, my question is this: it's does that will that play a difference? Is Bomac says no. I disagree. I disagree because number one, even though they're not the same fighter, they're similar. They're similar on certain standards. And one thing that is similar is they're both black slick fighters. One is more slicker, and one is better, and one has more experience. But they're both slick fighters and both black athletic fighters. If you can get that in a ring with somebody who isn't athletic, no matter if the more athletic, the better the experience, the better the rhythm, the better the okay, now I know what I'm up against. You do that for what, a week, 3 days, 4 days, 2 or 3 sparring sessions. After that, it's like at least I know what I'm up against. Whereas, so I disagree on, oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it definitely helped, and I think that him bringing this in and shows that he's focused. He also had a video, I think, when he was on a plane, and maybe he was talking to somebody, and he says, "Yeah, this damn near the best camp I've had, the best camp I've had in a while." Canelo Saul Alvarez is fucking focused. You hear me? And that's good. He's going to get Terrence Crawford is going to get a really, really, really good Saul. And no, let's just say this too. No matter what's going to happen, Saul is not going to be super athletic feet wise. But here's the thing: he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. All he has to do is cut off the ring and be, which he already is, extremely sound, consistent defensively from the waist up, because he has an excellent waist up movement. His head movement, his movement. Look at him against Bivol, man. He blocked a lot of that stuff, bro. Canelo is a lot better defensively than a lot of people give him credit for. It's just that a lot of times he doesn't have to go in the tool bag. So, but if you watch anybody watch Canelo, there are certain times where Canelo really puts on a masterclass defensive, and he's great counter puncher. So you have two great counter punchers going against each other. The only thing you can lean on is who has the most experience in counter punching. Yeah, you can average who's faster, but who has the most experience? That tends to is going to be a very good hand because you know when to stop, you know when to start, you know when to okay, he's countering the counter. You know what to do off of that better. I think that's the key thing. Canelo just has a wealth of experience, man. Um, another thing that was said during the conversation, um, what I thought it was interesting is how how should Crawford attack? And here's my thing. I think that Crawford should attack. I think it's a little gin, little Gordons, tend to be a gin man myself. Actually, did you know gin has less calories too? Look it up. I think it has less calories. I think it's like 55 or 50 calories. That's how I kind of, you know, I don't want to go overboard, man. You can get real big on, doing some drinking, man. So you got to watch yourself. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink. Okay. But anywho, um, I think what he must do is he has to obviously stick and move. He can't sit in the center of the ring, but he also can't go back. And there's a conversation was had. Oh, he can't do too much running. Well, who says who? Says who? And that's the thing. Even though we don't want him to run, he can run. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it plenty of times. Now, do I want that? No, but he can. And what if he does? That's still you don't like it. It's still a tactic. It's still a style, like most people have employed after they felt that one punch of Crawford. I mean, one punch of Canelo. But anyway, I think that what he should do is stick and move, and then angles. He has to hit, move, get to an angle, and I think he has to let his hands go and see if by the time he's at that angle, does he have the step on Canelo to let go? Because what I think it also is that I think Crawford's gonna be a lot slower. I do. I don't think that Canelo's gonna move like people think. Yeah, he put the weight on really good, but the problem that the problem is he didn't fight at 160. He stopped at 154. And if you watch him on 154, he wasn't dancing around the ring. I don't think Crawford really ever danced around the ring, but you can tell it wasn't no slick boxing. It was more like, okay, Majimov was the mover in that fight. So so my thing is this: if you're telling me at 154 he was a little bit more stationary, definitely two more weight classes up, he's not going to be doing what a William Skull did. He's going to be okay, boom, 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 move. But I don't think Crawford is there to move. I think he's there to put lay on, go out on the shield. But I also think that you know, I think that he's going to get in there, and I think around around 5, 6 on up, Crawford is going to start to slow down. I think I think that what's going to happen is the weight, the amount of pressure, the energy is going to be exhausting. And how do I know that? Because when Deontay Wilder went up, Deontay Wilder fought a great fight around 209 against Tyson Fury the first time. And when he came up and he fought the next 2 rounds, you notice that his stamina went down. Well, his training probably didn't go down, but it was the he said by the time I got to the ring, I felt like I was exhausted. I think that what happened is by the time you get to the fight, by the time you've been warming up, by the time you get to the ring, you went through your announcements, you went through all this stuff, and you were around 5, 6, 7. I think what's going to happen is the weight that he put on. I think the weight that he put on is going to start to wear at him. And what I mean by that is when I say he needs a hit, get to the angle, and starts to and work that angle quickly before Canelo can get together and hit with power shots, I think that that's going to slow down. I think that that's going to slow down. So so I think that you know that's going to be uh, that's going to be an effect that later on he's going to be fast. I think that later I think that later on he's going to be fast. I mean at the beginning he's going to be fast and a lot quicker than Canelo, but I think he's gonna mess around and slow down, and that's what's going to hold on. I think that's going to be an issue as well. I think he needs to, like I said, I think he needs to go in there, stake a move, and I think that and then he needs to get out an angle. He needs to get out as an angle, and I think once that happen is, once that happen is, like that. I think once that happens, I think that that's his best advantage is to really work at angles. He can't stand in their exchanges. Canelo's gonna be too strong, and I don't think that Bud needs to go back on the ropes either. But that's how I think that he should attack him. I think that he needs to, you know, he doesn't need to go for the kill. He just needs to outbox Canelo. He doesn't need to prove that he's a better puncher. All he needs to do is go in there and outbox Canelo, and you do that by not through exchanges, but by going through there, working the angles, getting in and get out, and make Canelo have to restart. Make Canelo. When you watch Crawford and Magomov, you see Magomov doing all these feints, and Crawford had to reset. I think Crawford had to work a lot of feints. And if you watch Magimov worked with upper body feints, but he also did a lot of lower body feints. I think that that's what Crawford needs to do: work on the lower body feints, his upper body feints, work at angles in and out. I think that what Canelo needs to do is Canelo can't come in there and two, pop, pop, boom, pop, pop, boom. He can't do that. He can't do that against a sharpshooter like Crawford. And I think that planes flying over you. But I don't think he can do that against Crawford. I think that what Canelo must do is just be Canelo. I think that he needs to bring in there and be Saul. I think he needs to come with some more combos. I think he needs to also, I target Crawford to the body. But by round, he needs to invest in the body. Both need to invest in the body early. But I think for Canelo, he definitely more than anybody needs to really target Bud's lower body, hit the arms, kill the arms, kill the hips, make Bud hurt, make Bud to the point where he can't do what everybody's talking about. Take Canelo's power. I knew everybody's wondering, can he take? That's the big tactic. Bud can do anything he wants to do in the ring physically, but can he do it for 12 rounds? But most importantly, we're not going to know, like we talked about before. I'm sure at some point in time, they had to do a drill where, like, oh, we need to see if we can take this punch to see what we're going to do. I think that, but Canelo's power is different. But I also think that, there's a reason why you're not seeing Canelo knock everybody out because Canelo's 5'7.5", and he's fighting at 168. And these guys that he's fighting with are 6 foot and taller and probably rehydrating into like 190. But let him fight somebody who's small. Let him. You see what he did. Listen. Every single puncher that Canelo faced has said he's devastated. Bevel said that Canelo's punch maybe was harder than Bevel's. I mean, better Viv. What I'm saying is that Canelo coming there with feints. He coming in like Saul, moving, hitting them arms, hitting them legs. He coming in and moving, really, really got his footwork together. I think it's going to be a long, long, long night for Crawford. I think that Crawford, he needs to come in there, stick and move. I think he needs to be patient. He must say he can't try to just fight Canelo. He's not going to win that because Canelo's going to be a lot more faster hands than him, and he may be a little bit more slicker than Crawford because he's so used to the weight. So I think that's how they definitely that's how they should fight each other. Crawford supposedly have a shoulder injury. Crawford supposedly have a shoulder injury. Supposedly has a shoulder injury. I definitely believe it. I know that there's a situation where there was a fight before that he was talked about being in, but he couldn't because he sustained the injury. They said it's been flaring up for the last eight to 10 weeks. So that's something to look out for. And then that's just something else that working against Crawford. Um, you know, how I see it playing out. Here's how I see it playing out. I see Crawford coming in looking real good rounds 1 through 4, maybe 5, maybe 6. Crawford's looking real good. 1 through 3, he is moving in and out. He's boom, boom, boom. And I think he may be winning those rounds. I do. I can see him winning those rounds, but I can also see Canelo winning those rounds. And I'm getting dark out here, so let me hurry up, man. Okay, I can see him winning those rounds. I also see, but I think later on in the fight, that weight's going to take a big toll on his movement. The body shots is going to take hold of his movement. I think I think that Canelo's going to start to turn it on once he starts to realize if Crawford don't hurt him early, Canelo's going to really turn it on around 6, 7, 8. I think Crawford is going to be around 6, 7, 8. I think Crawford is going to be tested very, very rough. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think those are going to be some really, really interesting rounds to look out for if it goes that long. And I think, in my personal opinion, I think that that's when Crawford's going to start to. People may look at him to start to figure it out, and he could be. But I think that's what's going to happen is Crawford, by that time, around the later rounds, Crawford's going to start feeling the effects of that weight. I think that Crawford's going to start off really, really good. I think he's going to start really, really. But I can also see Canelo starting off really good, and then later rounds Crawford figuring him out and picking him apart because that's what he's special at. He figures it out, he makes it happen, and that's what would make him one of the greatest fighters of all time if he pulls it off. But I don't see that happening. I see Crawford really getting tested in the later rounds, and I think around 9, 10 he gets stopped. I do, and I'm gonna be very sad because I'm picking. I want Crawford to win. I want Crawford to win. That's who I'm hoping he wins. But I have Canelo by knockout. I definitely, and the betting odds is for it, so I bet it. I bet it. You know what I mean? Try to win a little cash, man. But I do see Canelo stopping around 9 and 10 because I do think the weight it's going to on his legs and the body shots and the arm shots. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be too much. I think Crawford's going to have his moments. I think he's going to really, really win a lot of rounds, to be honest with you. And we're going to say that if Crawford had fought another fight, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is he didn't. And if Crawford pulls this off, this is going to show how special he is. But that's our conversation for tonight, man. I definitely see Crawford taking the L on this one. He giving it all he got, and I don't see it going 12. I think Crawford's going to fall within 11. And tell me what you think. Like, subscribe, share, man. This is my first video outside, man. Things will get better. I didn't know I was gonna get so dark when she turned the light on, man. But let me know what you think. Take it easy.